Yes.
Every other movie had people getting married.
This one, people already were married.
Off screen. A shame, really. There's a lot of missed opportunities.
Yeah. If you guys didn't read the title down below, we're talking about the Hitch-hiker.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse.
And me, Ittisdpayne.
Wow. I was thinking of how to add in my joke to say that if you watch these on YouTube with video, and you notice I'm wearing the same shirt as last week,
Mind your business.
I do own more than one shirt. I just haven't gotten up from this chair in the last 2 weeks.
Exactly. Mind your business. For them, it was only 1 week, though.
Yes, true.
Yeah, I got cold in the week.
Watch next week's temperature, or when this releases, it's like 80 degrees because global warming is, not real.
Well, the date of us recording it, I heard somebody say that next week is supposed to be in the 60s. Mm-hmm. So, hey, it just means that the Earth is hot, man. Like, people are just like, man, that's a spicy little ball right there.
Yes, that's exactly how they describe us. All those aliens that fly by. Wow, that ball has gotten real spicy lately, hasn't it? Over the last 100 years. Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, a while ago we thought we were gonna get some what was it, the Great Freeze? I remember I was talking to someone about this at work. Like, this is not like a debate on like social media, not social media, but of like, is global, like, because I know some people will get into all the arguments about global warming. That's not my whole purpose of this, but I remember having textbooks that were talking about the planet cooling down and like going back into another ice age. I also remember hearing of how we would have acid rain, and that seemed to like disappear. But I remember when I learned about acid rain, I was always like slightly concerned, which is a little bit concerning because I like rain. Like, I like listening to rain and watching it. I don't like
want it burning a hole through your roof, right?
Yeah, it's like I don't want like xenomorph blood coming from the sky.
I also remember learning a lot about the ozone, and we don't really talk about that much anymore.
Actually, they fixed it.
Yeah. Like I know I did hear like some changes in, what is it? What was it in the particular? It was like aerosols were changed, and I forget what else was changed.
Yeah, because like I forget, but they did that. Like, they took out the harmful thing. Like, I don't think it's a perfect fix, but
it wasn't immediately falling apart on us anymore. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And. Yeah,
but like, why don't we talk about like when we talk about these things, we go, hey, remember when we fixed something by changing things in our policies? Maybe we should continue doing that. But apparently not.
That's too forward thinking.
Yeah, it's I only have blue hair, I don't have particular thoughts or feelings about certain things at all.
Hey, I'm balding. And soon all I'll be saying is boy. Yeah. No, I just realized I'm like, I don't have the energy to have all the arguments anymore with people, so I'm just like, I just listen. I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, guys, but I do have a very serious problem. And they're like, what? Which probably at the time of this recording will already be solved. I'm like, I am almost done Elden Ring. Finally, I will be free of Elden Ring soon. But what should I do next? And there's a couple options. Because I was like, I never played Final Fantasy 9, and I never finished Final Fantasy 10. Which,
Clearly, you just need to start Final Fantasy from the very beginning, and not stop playing until you've played every iteration. Beat the entire MMO, too.
I used to do that. I did that on stream. I went from 1 to 7, started 8, and I'm like, I'm good.
So you have to start back at 8 then.
Yeah, the thing is, there's so many things I like about 8 that a lot of people don't like, but I don't know. My whole thing right now is I'm not buying new games unless it's something I really, really, really want, which there really isn't anything. Oh, except the new Onimusha game, but that is very much in like I played the Onimusha games growing up, but the what was it? There really isn't anything besides Onimusha coming out that I'm like really want to play, and so I'm like, guys, this year, unless something totally comes out of left field and surprises me, I want to try to finish as many of these games that I bought on my Steam library.
Yeah.
So like Final Fantasy 9 and 10 and I guess X2, that's part of the whole thing. Like those are there. There's some PS1 HD remakes that were on Steam that I really love that I want to play through. There was something. There was another game. It's
almost like you have something, right in front of you that you could roll, and perhaps from that, on a numbered list, would tell you what to play next.
But I can't roll this ring. This is like, I think my grandfather's. My dad gave it to me, and he's like, "Yeah, if you get on hard times, just sell it." I'm like, "Thanks."
Sentimental.
Like, well, it belonged to my mom's side of the family. So.
No.
So yeah, now it just kind of sits there.
But I know you have other instruments in front of you that almost have like numbers on different sides.
Yeah, there's numbers on this tag for this. Oh, are you talking about this this nutritional value? 150 calories for some sweet potato chips?
So look at the 150th game in your Steam library.
I was like, wait, how many games do I have? And I'm like, I think I have like 400 to 500.
Yeah,
like, I don't remember.
Steam sales go crazy.
Yeah, nah, but like it's pretty much like, okay, what vibe do I want? Because there's a lot of like, I just scrolled through like I think on Monday and on stream, and I was just like, there's like 8 JRPGs that I want to finish. Like, I want to start and finish. Like, Ni no Kuni, I think that's what it's called. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that one looked really cute, and I wanted to try that. I heard good things about that. The second one, I have no clue what it's about, but it does. I always see this GIF in it that cracks me up because it's my sense of humor for like, oh man, what if like our world gets merged with a fantasy world and there's just like these giant like rat soldiers like coming up, and then it's like Secret Service man pulls out a Glock and just kills them, shoots them all. I'm like, I don't know the context. All I know is like these mice soldiers are like coming against this child, and they just fall over, and it just cuts to man with gun. And I'm like, I need to know. And it was on sale, so I bought that. But yeah, that's my goal. Oh, something that isn't a JRPG, Devil May Cry. I never played the series, but I have multiple people tell me it's like, this is like, I guess a D-Pain coded kind of humor game. I don't know. So I bought those. Anyway.
Lots of options for you.
I know. I could just go through Mass Effect again.
Are you going to smooch someone this time?
No, it's gross.
Oh, gosh. Well, I guess there wasn't any smooching in this movie that we watched for this week. It is the first one of our movies where there's nobody trying to... No, there's nobody trying to smooch. I had to double check myself. I had to think about it.
Wait.
They talk about wives and kids, but they never smooch.
Yes.
Every other movie had people getting married.
Mm-hmm. This one, people already were married.
Off screen. A shame, really. There's a lot of missed opportunities.
Yeah. If you guys didn't read the title down below, we're talking about The Hitch-hiker.
By Ida Lupino.
Yeah.
During our little break, I was reading up on the serial killer, or I guess this is labeled as a spree killer, killing spree. I was reading up on that guy's background on the Wikipedia.
Yeah.
She really did lean into, like, making the character in the movie him. Because his background, just his background, not really even talking about what he went on to do, because the person that the Hitchhiker is based on is a 1950s spree killer named Billy Cook. It says that...
That's right. You said that, and it's right there.
He was born in Missouri, had 10 siblings. When he was 5, him and his younger sister discovered their mom's dead body in the kitchen, where they said she had a cerebral hemorrhage, and she was noted as being in perfect health an hour before they found her dead body. So imagine being 5, walking into the kitchen going, Mom, are you done dinner? Why are you on the floor? And then his dad isn't mentioned in the obituary at all. And then the dad, once he got, like, the children, was like, you know what? We're going to drop you off in an abandoned mine and leave you with a few supplies. And people found the 10 kids there and put them in foster care. But Billy Cook had a deformed eye and a terrible attitude, which, yeah, I would have a terrible attitude, too. If at 5 years old my mother died and my dad dropped me off in the mines... And he ended up going into foster care, and the lady collected money, but, like, she didn't treat him very well. And then he went on, at the age of 12, he was arrested for petty crime, and he'd rather go to a reformatory than stay in foster care. He stayed in, like, a detention center until he was 17, and while... at 17, he was transferred to a penitentiary where he assaulted another inmate with a baseball bat. So remember you said they were candidates for mental health treatment? I think this guy in the 1950s needed some help. And then he was released from prison in 1950, and he briefly met with his father again and told his father, I will now live by the gun and roam, to which he went off and started to buy guns.
Nice.
So
American dream, buying guns.
Yeah, in Texas too, no less. But yeah, so and the other fun fact is The Hitchhiker was the first American mainstream film noir directed by a woman. Happy Women's History Month.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one is also in the Library of Congress. So that's neat.
I'm just... It isn't funny laughing at deaths, but I'm looking at the Billy Cook criminal Wikipedia page, and it just says killed 6 and then parentheses and a dog.
No, well, it's in the movie, but
I'm just reading the Wikipedia page of the actual person.
I know, but they also put it in the movie.
Oh, they did? I forgot.
Do you remember the gas station?
Now I do. Yes. Like, as you said that, I'm like, oh yeah. But it was just like, I don't know. I was just like, it was just the way it's written here on the Wikipedia. I'm just like, oh, that's just like, oh yeah, that's like, I don't know. I don't think that would be put in any like modern thing, but I don't really go look up a whole bunch of killer.
If this is this picture of the guy, then they did pretty good with the casting.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Like it's basically just like if he were older.
But yeah, this was interesting. And I think I said this. I don't remember if I said this at the end of last episode, but yeah, this is I think the only one that we saw, given the title, a film noir. So, and yeah, this was a little bit closer. Not a little bit. It is, I think, kind of more what we were expecting. Yeah. I think this is more what we were expecting when we were coming into, when we heard that she did noir.
So this is probably what she is famous for when they said that, like, she is a noir director.
Yeah. So, but
you ready to bring out the things that I said that you have on your desk, even though you're being belligerent?
Yes.
There they are.
I got a D4 right here.
So you don't want to talk again. I see how it is. But for anyone, if this is your first time here, as Payne has mentioned, we're watching through movies by Lupino for this month. This is our 4th one, The Hitch-hiker. And now what we're doing is rolling dice, a 12-sided dice, because we're watching 12 directors throughout this year. This is March, so this is our 3rd one. Oh, I think I'm giving the spiel. But we were rolling dice.
I think you are as well.
We're rolling these dice to see who gives a short, no spoiler summary, about 1 to 2 sentences. Then after the summary, we have some questions so you can get a vibe for the movie and our overall thoughts. And then we will warn you when it gets to spoiler town. Choo choo.
Mm-hmm. So I did a joke. I did a goof and picked up a D4.
Cheater.
I rolled a 3 on the D12. So I'm like, it's like that came up. I'm like, of course it would be 4 or under. Let's you roll like an 11.
12.
Oh yeah. Well, you let's see. Can I tie it? No, I rolled worse. I rolled a 1.
Both of yours together, not even a third of mine. But yeah. So
it is a 4th. Yes, as soon as I find the Wikipedia page again. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So my quick summary of this movie is we follow a pair of guys who just want to go fishing. They just want to, well, one wants to go fishing. The other one just wants to get away and do something that's not fishing for once. But they're traveling together and they see a man pulled over to the side of the road and they go, oh man, we can't leave this guy hanging. And they let him in the car and he has a pistol to their heads and they soon realize that the man they've been hearing about on the radio and the news is now in the back of their car. Dun dun dun.
And they're pregnant.
When did they smooch? When did I miss it?
With suspense.
They're pregnant with polio.
Oh!
All her movies combined into this one.
Over the weekend, the frequent listener and I watched a movie, Invited to Murder, I think it's called, and it's a very much a love letter written to Agatha Christie books, because there's just, and so like it is like a combination of all her books. It was a pretty fun movie, and it's just me digging into her bookography. I don't know what it is, but her
body of work.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, okay, I see this, and I haven't even got to like the big ones everyone knows of, like Murder on the No, that's
Orient Express.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. Oh yeah, because there's the Horror of Orient Express. That is a Call of Cthulhu campaign.
Yeah, I think she has the Murder on the Orient. Yeah. The Death of the Nile.
The Nile. Yep.
The Nile, and then There Are None. I think are the 3 that most people think
yes.
of.
Well, there's
and
also
then Poirot.
Yeah. Well, they're all Poirot books. Yeah. She has another one. I think it's Maze Myers. I think is another like kind of mystery.
Prominent. Yeah.
Yeah. Where that one's. I think it's probably something similar to Poirot, but. I haven't read any of them, so I don't want to misspeak. I don't know much about them, but it's like I think it's also like murder mystery style. But then there was something else. There's another one. It got renamed, but it's like the Horror of something, and it's that one takes place in Venice. It's like the Horror of Venice.
Oh, I watched the movie adaptation of it.
Yeah, it has a different title for. Excuse me, the book, but yeah, those are like the big ones. But I don't know. I really do enjoy those books. Like, they're definitely aged. Like, there's definitely stuff. Like, I found one the one I'm reading now, and I'm like, oh, well, those are a lot of terms that don't get used now. But anyway.
Yeah, I remember starting one, and I was like, that's anti-Semitic. That one was just racist. Oh, that's an interesting opinion of people.
Yeah, there's the one I'm reading right now. It's like a bunch of short stories. That's like a bunch of like, these are mysteries that I have that can't be fleshed out into like one whole, like a whole book.
Novel, yeah.
So it's like, here's short, and it's just like, what did they call that person? What did they say? So, yeah, that one's okay, but I'm reading them in order. They're also on Spotify, and they're not free because I pay for premium, but
you have hours.
Yes. So, but anyway, we got questions that I'm going to ask you as soon as I find them. Hey, if this was the only movie, forget all 3 other weeks before this, okay? Delete them out of your mind. Bada bing, bada boom.
Scrub.
Would you would you watch the rest of her catalog?
Oh, yeah. But it would be weird starting from this one because it's not like any of the other ones that she has. Yes. The only thing that I would say is prevalent in this is, we've kind of said this before, where her movies, even though there's a major incident happening, focuses instead on the people dealing with the situation rather than the drama of the situation. Mm-hmm. Like, for a gun being in, like, most to all of the movie, the gun is almost never used.
Yeah. I was doing the modern day thing and counting the bullets used. But anyway, yeah, I would recommend it. I think
you're skipping ahead of the questions. You just said you would recommend it.
Yeah, I would recommend it. But I was answering the question. Yeah, I would watch her other movies, but I do think this one would be tough, like watching this, and then I think this would be a tough one to go in and watch the first two, like Not Wanted or Never Fear. I think going from this movie to those two movies would be difficult. I think from this movie to Outrage, I'm like, what's it called? I think that might be an easier kind of transition, but
I also think even if you, as long as you don't go to the first two, like if you went Hitch-hiker, Outrage, and then the first two, I think that's a like believable transition between the movies as well.
But I do like this because we're seeing her, like as you were saying last week, we're seeing her grow as a director and being more confident and everything. It's the thing that was cracking me up a little bit at the beginning of this, because it gives like the title card is like, this is a real event that could happen to anyone, even you.
Yeah, the poster is very much like, are you next?
Yeah. But it was like, okay, first movie was talking about like pretty much
teenage
pregnancy and unwanted pregnancies, like how they dealt with, like how did people deal with that. The second one was like polio, like how, like what's going on with that.
Story, yeah.
The third movie is like the trauma and just the after effects of assault. And it's just like a lot of her movies and like subject matter, I feel like she has been very specific in what she chooses to work with, where it's like this stuff, it isn't like something that is just in fantasy. It's just like, this is something that, yeah, there is the element of the theater put into this, but these are all grounded, and for the most part, like even though we're 75 years in the future from this film, from these films, it's like we're still, and like some of the stuff doesn't exist now, but we're able to see how things like pretty much just there's how they're just kind of still grounded in reality and not just all like the fantastic. But anyway, yeah. How much did you root for the characters, if at all?
I just didn't. I rooted for everyone but the bad guy. I was rooting for his guy. I was rooting for his downfall, and I was really confused only because I kept looking at him going, there's no way you're related to William Dafoe, but are you related to William Dafoe? Or sorry, Willem, I believe is how his name is pronounced. But you know who I mean.
Yes.
You watched The Lighthouse.
Did you see the TikTok video where someone went up to him, had no clue who he was, and was asking, do you like your job? Like, what do you do for work? And like, he thought he was just joking with them until he realized the kid had no clue who he was. And so like, he's like, talks, I don't think, he gives like a very encouraging speech of like work, and just, I think he liked it because he's just like, really? You don't know who I am?
I'm not. He's too used to the usual, like, how did you prepare for this role? Like, you know, the standards. But no, that's got to be fun.
Yeah. What grade would you give the plot?
The only gripe I had with the plot was it got to the end and I was kind of like, there's 5 minutes left. How does this end? Because, like, I feel like the build-up and the lead was great. And this one, I think, is paced a bit slower than her other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, in this one, you really see the passage of time, especially with like the costume and the makeup and kind of
beards.
Yeah. And I guess I would give it like I think I would also give this one a B plus because I kind of wish the ending wasn't as like dragged. I don't know if dragged out is the word, but it got to the ending and I was like, I'm not satisfied because you guys did all of this in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But that's me. What about you?
F. No.
Gasp.
No. I would agree. Like I would give it a B. It's like there was a little bit of dragging, but it's. I guess like what it kind of reminded me of a little bit is Green Room. Excuse me. Where I remember watching Green Room and it was the tactics of how do we get out of the threat. Like
that was the most interesting, yeah.
Yes. And that's kind of what we saw from O'Brien and Lovejoy, the characters in there, as they were trying to like just think of different ways, as one was being more cool-headed and the one was getting fired up. And
I think you said the actors' names.
Oh, was it?
Collins and Bowen.
Collins and Bowen, yeah. I did. I looked over and saw them over there. I saw them in parentheses, and I'm like, for some reason, I was like, that's their names. So, like and just like how, like the whole kind of cat and mouse as it kind of like builds up to it. But it was one of those things where it's just like, man, it's almost like the Shatner fights from Star Trek, just poof, poof. Oh, I punched everything. I punched the wire to my microphone. But
I can still hear you. You're here.
Yes.
You're recording.
Good, but everyone's gonna hear the. But yeah, just the punching and everything, like compared to like now, and it's just like I'm like, they're doing their best, but it was still good. But yeah, I would agree a B. How likely would you recommend this movie to others?
Even though I gave the plot like a B plus, I would recommend this. I would give it like an A for recommending it to others because I think even though it is older and even though it's based around like an actual person, I think it's still kind of like a fun take on the like we watched Inside Man, and this I feel like Inside Man has a similar essence to it where it's like, hey, how do we coordinate and talk to this guy who thinks he's the smartest person who's ever existed, but make sure we don't die in the process? I would rather watch this than Inside Man because this one I actually had no clue what the solution would be, I guess.
Yeah.
Because Inside Man, you could tell very quickly that the main smart guy was just like really into his own ego, so it's easy to kind of, suck up to him. Whereas the guy in this was very much the kind of wild card that would, if I were put in the situation of the two main characters, I wouldn't know what to do. Because on one hand, this guy's like, yeah, I'm making it out. Nobody knows who you are. And then he's like, I heard your name's on the radio, and they know you're missing. Where are the Chocolate Mountains? And then he lies to him and he goes, good, then they don't think I'm with you. So I guess I'll keep you alive. And I was like, oh, quick thinking.
Yeah, it's, I was trying to find out, I'm like, I don't even know where the Chocolate Mountains are or whatever they were called. I'm just like.
Let me see if they're real.
Yeah, because, I don't know, because that was the other thing where I'm like, it felt like let's see, it's Collins who I think it is. Yeah, no, it felt like Gilbert Bowen. He was definitely more into like, I want to, like, I'm just here to fish and everything, while Roy Collins was, excuse me, more. Okay.
Yeah, so he did lie. He told them it was in Colorado, I think. But yeah, they're like Southern California, right on the close to the border of Mexico, which is where they were going in the movie.
Yeah. So like it doesn't feel like it's that far away. Like the way I don't know, for me just not knowing where it is, it made it sound like it was preposterous for them to be in
both
Mexico.
Places.
Yeah. Well, yeah. In Mexico and stuff. So
but he wanted him to think that they wouldn't.
Did they tell him that it was in Colorado or?
They said Colorado or Arizona, and then he said, "Oh, if that's where you told your wives you were going, then obviously they're not going to know that you're here in Mexico because why,
Yeah, it's like why you guys Mexico? Even? Yeah, and then he even asked him, he's like, and they don't answer. Just like
he's like, "Oh, you got some broads across the border, you sneaky fellers," and it's like, yeah, that's why they lied.
Yeah,
no other reason.
Well, like I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, wait a second, because like I could tell it was in there, and I'm like, did I miss something? Because it's just like I could also see him was like, oh, he got us, but like as because Roy Collins, he wanted like because they kind of stop at the one place, and they're like, hey, do you want to see the dancer or whatever it is? He's like, and like Gilbert's like, let me sleep, and he's like, sorry guys, not today, and just but yeah, one of them was a little bit more open for that. The other one, yeah, well, Gilbert Brown was I think he says something, he's like, I don't like this is the longest I've ever been away from the wife and the kids, so he's like, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. But hey, we're going. But yeah, no, I would agree. I think this would be one of the easier, like, as a good starting point, like, to get in to the Lupino.
Yeah, it doesn't feel so out of touch.
I said her name wrong. Lupino.
Maybe.
Oh,
we never learned.
I never heard anyone say it.
But yeah, I think this one's the one that's like easiest for you to put like your shoes in, because again, her movies are much more about people reacting to the situations rather than like the situation specifically.
She would make a mean A24 film.
If you gave her like really high budget things and told her nothing in Hollywood is censored, she'd be like, nothing?
Here, why don't you look at this movie? It should be a good hit. Ghost Story.
Oh no. She's like, I can write something better than this. We're like, yes. But in any case, instead of us each week bringing up a movie that we wish were better, Twizzler bodysuit and Ghost Sheet.
That was perfect. I don't know what you're talking about.
No notes.
A movie that now 3 years ago still comes back up. It comes back up. That movie comes up more than the movie that actually won that. I don't even remember what movie won the bracket.
Was it Train to Busan? Was it
Hereditary?
Alien?
It was Alien.
I know Train to Busan was in the top 3.
Yeah, so it was that. I know a lot of people got mad that The Shining got knocked off as early as it did.
I'm okay. Sorry, huh? I fought for it. I fought for that one.
Yeah, well, that was after that is when I watched every single movie that came out, because I'm like, I don't remember things. Let's see. Now I'm more curious, so I'm going into the files of the Google Drive, because it should be here, right? Charity, please sign up. No, I don't know why that's in here. That's the movie bracket. I thought it was in here. Why do we have a... Oh, that's Blackjack's audio wave file. I'm like, why do I have something that's named 69, 69, 69, 69, 69? And I was like, oh, wait a second.
That makes sense for him.
But I also remember that was the 69th episode and we talked about Hades.
Yes, very thirsty of us. Or me specifically.
Both of you. I think I brought up chaos.
I found us talking about all the Alien movies.
Yeah. I thought we had Wait, I know where they are. I think I have this on my computer.
Oh, yeah, the bracket saved?
I think so, yeah. Oh, wait, I have a Pointless Discourse folder.
Oh, it says if you check our Twitter, you'll see the bracket. I don't know if I can still access it without having an account.
My account's in the process of being deleted. But here we go. I found it. Yeah, it was Train to Busan and Alien for the last month.
Look at that. I picked the top 2, baby.
Yeah, because I remember that was the joke. Like, all mine got voted out, like, in the first round.
It was a shame that Ex Machina went up against Train to Busan. It was 1 point off.
Mm-hmm. I'm very confused why some of these things have, like, almost 200 points. The Psycho and The Shining have 183 and 179.
I don't remember what those numbers meant.
Me neither. I also don't know why they're that high.
And why we like slimmed it down to be so low by the end. It's probably because, you know what it might be? I think we had a system that was like out of like 20 points in 5 categories.
Yeah.
Or it had to have been more than 20 points in 5 categories. But I think for things like Ex Machina, we knew its previous ranking. So we just took things that were like different and compared more strictly. Because our early episodes of this bracket were like two almost 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And we couldn't keep doing that.
Didn't we do multiple?
In a week? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was also a problem.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think this is probably one of the old brackets that got deleted.
The Cell versus Train to Busan was 2 hours and 40 minutes.
But I think also in those movies we were like kind of doing what we're doing now, is reviewing the movie a little bit.
Oh yeah, we were being very
I think
particular.
I think now if we did a bracket, we'd be better at it.
We've learned a lot.
Yeah. An A24 bracket.
But we haven't learned how to segue back into the movie.
Hey, you know what?
For
Brackets
Spoiler
are...
Town?
Toot toot.
Speaking of trains. Train to Busan, train to Spoiler Town.
Train to Spoiler John. What's up? I hit the start. Let's go. We're in Spoiler Town, baby. What would you do if you picked up a hitchhiker and they were like, hey, I got a gun?
I would do anything they told me as long as it didn't involve harming me, like how the girl was harmed in Outrage.
Wise. You know what? Okay, so while watching this movie, I'm like, I want to take the hitchhiker, because I didn't realize that this was based off of a real dude. I thought it was just a common thing that was going around, like hitchhiker murder people.
Nobody would pick up hitchhikers if 1 in every 5 hitchhikers was a murderer.
I don't know.
That's why we don't pick up hitchhikers now.
I know.
We realized that 1 in 5 were
well, this is just the one that got caught. No, but no, I was sitting there watching. I was like, oh my goodness, if they did this movie nowadays, like I want it to be the hitchhiker that picks up whatever, a couple and all that, and then as they're going, they like the car breaks down and all that stuff, and he's like, what's going on? And then before he can kill them, like the cannibal hillbillies come out, and then it's like the hitchhiker versus the hillbillies. And I'm like, that'd be awesome.
The Hills Have Eyes versus the hitchhiker.
Yeah, or just I'm forgetting the movie. It was a
Wrong Turn.
Maybe
Wrong Turn is West Virginian cannibals.
Let me look it up. It could be. This poster's... Why does this poster look like the dude from What We Do in the Shadows, the old vampire man?
One of the Wrong Turn movies, there's characters, of course, in a B movie where people are dying. 2 characters were consensually doing the deed that happens in Outrage, but consensually. The girl gets shot through the boob by an arrow. All the way through her back and all the way through the front. And we were like, that's some crazy aim and crazy like power behind a bow and arrow. So the Wrong Turn movies are something else.
Goodness, there's so many of them.
Last I remember checking, there were like 6.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if this one is. Oh yeah, there's round that. Yeah, it looks like there's 6. Oh my goodness.
Sci-fi back when they didn't change their name.
That would be a silly series to do. Not Wrong Turn, but like find one of these movies that are just like that, like Tremors. I know Tremors is on the list, but like just 2 like these multi-episode things. Anyway, but it's just like there's a Rob Zombie movie that I'm blanking on.
There's a lot of Rob Zombie movies. There's the House of a Thousand Corpses. There's Devil's Rejects. That's the one that you're thinking of, where they're hitchhikers.
I think so. I don't know. I think House of a Thousand Corpses or whatever it was. I think
that one has like the creepy guy that's like in his movies. Look up Devil's Rejects. I did watch that one.
I watched. Yeah.
Because I think these people break into a motel or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. But like when you were saying like a movie similar to this, like there's this scene.
Yeah. In short, I just thought it would be funny, or not fun. I think it would be silly. Like, you know, instead of like that, almost like Chainsaw Texas Massacre, like that kind of family. It's just like, what is going on? Like, that's what I wanted to see. I want to see the hitchhiker face off against Meathead or whatever's Leatherface.
You're mixing up so many horror franchises all at once. Is it because it's late at night?
That and I don't know. But anyway, that's all I was thinking of though is, the hitchhiker takes the people like go out on this off-beaten path, and that off-beaten path is just like the Cannibal Hillbillies, and it's just like, okay, who is this? Who are the people that were not brought here by choice? Like, how are they going to get out of it? Who do they got to work with? And then it just turns into like how Freddy versus Jason and
Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, one of them.
What side are you picking?
Yeah, one of them is afraid of Wooder. The other one is afraid of cheese curls. But anyway, this has nothing to do with what we were talking about, and we just spent the last 5 minutes down a Ittisdpayne rabbit trail. Yeah, so
I'll ask you. So what was your favorite moment? Like silly, like serious or silly? Like I think my favorite moment is when you have the guy who's like, "Oh, I can get you a boat." After he keeps getting paid more and more, he's like,
yes.
"Well, I don't want to like take the boat out at night, and like it's not safe, and my cousin's busy at work, and he keeps getting paid more and more money."
It's like,
my favorite
be
scene,
there by 8.
Yeah, my favorite scene is he goes to get his poncho and he turns around and he sees the wanted poster and goes, "It's him." And he turns around to the guy working at the store and he's like, "Give me the phone. It's the guy." And the guy's like, "You're being ridiculous." And he's like, "No, give me the phone. I'm going to call the police. It's the guy." And I also appreciate that they didn't downplay Spanish speaking at all. Mm-hmm. Like, I've seen, like, it feels like other modern movies are so worried about, like, the English-speaking audience that they have characters speaking in a Spanish accent in English when they're talking to other native speakers. But this movie was, like, I think they did dumb down the dialogue a lot because even though I haven't studied Spanish, I only have the elementary school, I heard things like, "Stop, who are you, where are you going?" Like those little like key phrases that you would learn if you've like barely learned Spanish.
Manzana.
Yeah. So I could get like little like excerpts to at least understand the context. But I did appreciate that you have the whole bit that's like, unfortunately he said it in a very racist way, but instead of saying speaking Spanish, he said something else. Mm-hmm. But he was like, "Don't do that in front of me. I don't know what they're saying." And he's like, "They don't speak English. You're in Mexico. What do you want?" Mm-hmm. He's like, "I want you to find an English speaker." And he's like, "Habla inglés?" And he's like, "Oh, my cousin does." And he's like, good, with his gun pointing at everybody.
Yep. Bad gun safety.
Horrible gun safety.
Yeah. That was interesting. Like, that whole thing. Like, and there wasn't even subtitles. It was just like...
No,
like,
yeah.
Because there's, like, whole scenes where it's just like... I'm like, I can tell what's happening from context clues. Like, of just the couple, like... There's, like... Yeah, there's some Americans back there. They're really rude. They wouldn't talk to us.
And they're like, how many? Dos. They're like, how many? Dos? They're like, that's not enough.
Yeah. Let me go look. I think one of the scenes that I liked a lot was, I think it was like their first night. He's like, we're going to spend the night here. And he's like, don't plan on doing anything silly. He's like, my one eye here is very droopy, and it's like, you'll never know if I'm actually sleeping or awake because it's always open. And then they like wake up and they're like, you can see like the acting is really good where they're just like, and just how there's no music, it's just quiet, and like, and it's, you can feel the intensity of just like the everyone there's like, should we risk it? And it's just like, it's one of those things I'm like, I'm looking and I was like seeing like checking like how his chest is rising and falling, and just like, dude, I don't know. So like, I know the actor's awake, but it's still like, unless they really like, I don't know, it was also the 1950s, they could have been like, okay, we're gonna beat your eye now. But
we're gonna basically Clockwork Orange your eye for these scenes.
Yeah. So yeah, so like that first one I thought was really interesting.
I did like how there's that where they set up that premise, and then they still do the one part later where they're like, you know, it's our time, we gotta do the thing.
Yep. And then they just crawl away like worms, and then he's just like, he just gets up, he's like, the hunt.
The other scene I really liked is when they tried to make fun of him, where they were like, hey, you couldn't even hit that rabbit sitting there. And he was like, oh yeah? And he's like, go set up a can over there, shoots the can. He's like, go on, set it back up, shoots the can. He's like, so you think I can't shoot my gun? Mm-hmm. And the guy's like, I can't run from him. He'll shoot me. Yeah. Like, that whole, like, it was a really cool test of, oh, you don't think I will? I absolutely will.
Yeah. It's like, now you do it. Because that's when he tells him to shoot the rifle.
His shotgun that he had in the trunk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was at that point when I was like, are they going to try to make him waste his bullets?
You said you were counting them. But he does also steal them from his glove box, right?
Yeah.
Did you count those as well?
No, because they don't. They're just like, here's a box.
Oh, that's how they kept people from being able to count. Here's a vague number of bullets. Sorry.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was neat. I think you mentioned this last week, where it's just like, hey, can you just lie on the air so that way like you'll save these dudes' lives? And it's like, it's interesting, like he's getting ready to like just dump them in a mine, and it's just like, oh, and it looks like the Roy Collins and Gilbert Bowen are somewhere completely different and have no relation to
very like obviously like, yeah, oh, guys.
He's like, well, I guess we're gonna hang out longer. And then so I also I like who they brought, like how everyone is there. Yeah, you have whatever his face is it I'm trying to find out Emmett Myers. Yeah, like he excuse me, like he's there, and pretty much like he's so much this like he is the wall that they all have to pass, that the two have to pass. But then the thing that I thought was interesting is how I gotta hover over them. Collins was a mechanic, while Bowen, I don't know, like they mentioned what Bowen is, or what he does for work, but
I don't remember off the top of my head. Let me see if it's listed anywhere.
Yeah, I don't see it on the Wikipedia.
But yeah, the mechanic thing became a plot point later.
Yeah, and it's just interesting. Like, there's so many things, like, because I don't know how cars work, that I'm just like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Of just where Roy is just fighting for his life to keep this car running, and then they come up with a plan. It's like, hey, we need a reason to get in there and unplug the radio. And I was like, okay. And then, like, I wouldn't even think of it, and they're like going looking at the radiator and everything, and then like the farmer's coming around, and like Myers starts freaking out. It's like, fix it, fix it,
fix it now.
And then like they just like slowly just stare at the farmer's, just like, sup. Just keeps going. But
I do like that they also emphasize, like, he's like, drive faster, drive harder, drive better, drive stronger, and he's like, the car's gonna break down, and he's like, no, you don't know what you're doing. He's like, I'm a mechanic.
Yes. And then it was just instantly, they're just like, okay, and he's like, get your hands away from the radio line. I'm like, I wouldn't even, like, that
thought
wouldn't
to guess it.
Yeah, like, it's like, because, well, I think a lot of that stuff now is in like the head unit, not in the engine. Like,
and it's electronic rather than being like
a fuse,
easily physical.
Yeah, or a wire. So yeah, so like I thought that was interesting, and then it's like, I'm like, you know what? I don't even know if he actually broke it or not, or it's like
on purpose.
Yeah, like if it was on purpose or the car isn't, because it's just like, hey, there's so much we can do, and then then the car bleeds out. So.
Oh yeah, they do have the blood trail to follow.
Yeah, and then so then they got to start walking. And then
is there okay? Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like this movie is a little bit more like straightforward than some of the other ones that we've tried talking about. So then I'll also ask you this: were there any moments that you thought were pretty satisfying?
I think I like the scene, like, that when they're in the grocery store, and like the little girl is just like, because he has to, like, he's like he's
trying to communicate with the store owner.
Yeah. But like Myers isn't having any of it, and then like the little girl is being a little girl, and just it's like comes up, and the guy's like, no, and like just like don't do anything, don't, like,
that she doesn't realize.
Yeah, where it's like you can tell that, like, that line earlier where he's just like, I'm a father. It's like, this is the far longest I'm going to be away from my wife and kids, and it's like you can see him's like, no, like, I care for, like, not just my kid. It's like, no, he's
a family man through and through.
Yeah, to where he's like, it's like, shoot me, but like, don't kill the kid.
Which is like a wild thing for us to have to be like, out of context, that's the clip.
Yeah. But no, I think that was like, that had an interesting sense of like just tenseness, like from our point of view, like from the store, the grocer, he's probably just like, all right, like, what are we doing here?
And then they have the report later where they're like, yeah, 2 men and then like a third guy, and everyone was really anxious and uncomfortable. It's like, yeah, they did a good job of portraying that.
Yeah. And then they're all sitting there, and he's just like, oh, you're from California? I used to be up there. And like, you can tell Myers like, should I shoot him?
It's like, he speaks English and he saw our license plate.
Yeah. The one thing I've been asking for this whole time is for someone to speak English, and now it's someone that just saw and just sat and looked where my car that I stole is from. How about you?
I think the most satisfying moment for me was, I also kind of laughed at it when the guy, the one that had like the biggest mental break, like, he's arrested. Also, I was very confused why they arrested him with his hands forward. I was like, that seems like a terrible idea. It seems like it could choke somebody out or throw haymakers, and he
Yeah.
did. I like when the mechanic guy comes up and just punches him and gives him a nosebleed, and everyone's like, cool off. He's like, cool off, no. He's had me kidnapped in my own car for God knows how long, and everyone's like, don't worry, he's going to go to jail and probably get executed. He's like, that's not good enough for me. I need to take him out.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was like, I rewound it because at first I didn't know who punched him. Mm-hmm. And then when they showed the scene, I was like, wait, when did he get there? I thought he got, like, pushed off, like, the bridge a second ago. And then they just showed him quickly climbing up the hill to be able to punch.
He passed his quick time event.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was, like, a smart thing, like, because they're looking for, it's like, you're my same
when
size
the guy's like, you're about my height. You have dark hair. You can put on a leather jacket. And he's like...
It's like, my leg hurts and now I gotta take my clothes off.
Yeah, he broke his ankle on the runway because it had the little loop chain for planes so they didn't slip away into the night.
Mm-hmm. I almost said the coffee bars.
No, yeah, where they do the inchworm and then try and run.
Yep.
I thought he was going to hit them with their car.
I thought so too. And like part of me wonders the only reason they didn't get hit was the fact that they tripped.
But then he's also, like, he doesn't know how to speak to anybody. He doesn't know how to, like, pay the fees. He doesn't know how to get to the ferry. So he does technically need them.
Well, before that, that's when he was going to dump them into the mine, right?
Oh, that's true. That is true. I just thought it was funny. Yeah, because they have the feast and they have his whole coordinated plans of, like, I'm done with you guys now that I've gotten my boat that I need. Yeah. But I did think it was funny when he was talking to the bartender, and the bartender's like, oh, the ferry's on fire. It's not going to be here for weeks. He's like, I don't believe you. Get an English speaker. And the guy's like, yeah, the ferry caught fire. It's been like that for weeks. And he's like, oh, you weren't lying. I was like, you have a gun to this guy's head. Mm-hmm. He hasn't lied to you once. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I was worried that they were going to get shot in the back of the heads when he caught them scheming the one time. Mm-hmm. They were, like, sitting by the fire, and he's, like, pouring out the chili can into the pot, and he's like, I'm so done. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to get him. And then they turn around, and he's just like, hey, boys. And they're like, nothing.
The bully around the lunch table came back. Yeah. And so, yeah, it was... And, like, there was just, like, little things that I liked where it was just, like, okay, you put your hand on the window and your other hand on the back seat. Don't move unless I tell you to. And every scene that he's in there, for the most part, has his...
hands in those positions.
Yeah. And there's parts where you can tell, like, they kind of slip and forget, like, where he's kind of got his hands down or whatever. But it's just, like, it's interesting, like, the whole thing. And, but yeah, the whole journey, it's, like, it's just a road trip movie. You camping.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
They have good fun.
But I also like the, kind of like the escalation in Meyer's panic. Like, he kept making more and more mistakes towards the end. Mm-hmm. Like, when they were like, oh, I'm out of gas. He's like, pull over on this street. And they see that the gas pump is locked. And then they're, like, making this noise. He's like, do it quieter. They're like, you told me to break a lock. I don't know how to break a lock without being loud.
And then off-screen roughers.
Thank God for censorship at this time, I guess. But, yeah, and then, yeah, so there's that panic. And then he has the moments where he is, like, you know, he just has moments where you could tell he's, like, at his wit's end. And, like, the two main characters are like, it's almost time for us to escape. We're getting there. He's making a lot of mistakes.
Well, Bowen is. Collins is like, I want to just...
He's itching.
Yeah. And then he took the coward's way when he was already handcuffed. He's like, ah! Yeah. But, you know, Gilbert was just, like, the level head of just like, all right, let me take off my ring that's inscribed with me and my wife's name on it and leave it here very clear. And, like...
And then the cops are like, Maurice. Or no, like Maureen, I think his wife's name was.
So,
the long con.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing that I don't know, U.S. and Mexican law enforcement could work together like that.
I was waiting for you. You said you had a joke for this week's episode.
I was like, yeah, it's like
a different time, some may say.
Yeah, now all we share is tears.
Sharing is generous of a word.
But yeah, so. But yeah, no, it was just interesting, like just seeing the whole thing. Yeah, no, it was. I don't really have much to really say about it because yeah, it was very straightforward. It wasn't. It's like you knew who everybody was, and like you kind of saw pretty much everyone except Gilbert Bowen's descent into madness. Like Roy Collins is stressing out, rightfully so. Myers, as he's getting closer to his goal, is stressing out, and like the cracks in the beginning are now becoming deeper, and Gilbert's just like, hey, just kind of trying to keep his friend like calm enough to be like, hey, we got this, just take it one step at a time, like we will make it through this. And like giving like little bits and pieces of his way through to the point where like you can still see like there's this simmering anger underneath the surface with Bowen, like especially when it's just there's like a part where Myers is like, if without this gun, like there would be like you guys. It's like you guys, what is like? No, you guys are soft, unlike me. You guys don't know how to take advantage and like do anything. It's just you want everything handed to you and everything like that. And I think
very much the like you work for the man. Well, I don't because I like to shoot the man. It's like, well, that's not a way to go through life either. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Collins, that's when he's like, yeah, without the gun, you're nothing.
Mm-hmm. And then they kick the gun out of his hands,
and then he becomes nothing. Give him a wedgie.
It is funny seeing fighting done then because you could tell things were much less coordinated. They're just like, all right, pretend you're going to punch him, but you lean really far back so you don't accidentally get punched. Because like that whole bridge scene was like,
yeah. And it was like dark as well. So it's just like, you can hide it a little bit. It's not like the Last Jedi when there's, I know there's people who have made jokes about this where there's like the camera shot they do with Luke. He does like a kick in the air, and he's like a foot away from the person that he's kicking, and the person just launches, and it's just like force kick. Let's see if I type in force kick into the GIF thing, will it come out?
That is funny, but yeah, I don't know how much time we have left on the timer, but
we have like 4.5 minutes, but
okay. Oh, very Power Rangers-esque kick.
Yes. So it's just boop. But I don't know. Did you have anything else you wanted to share about Hitch-hiker?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there is anything so profound. This one's a bit longer, but just yeah, like things are pretty straightforward. There are some really satisfying moments. There are some really like funny moments. I think it was also kind of one of the, even though like we said it kind of drags a little bit because it's like you said a road trip. It's Final Fantasy 15 except with instead of going to a wedding, you have a guy with a pistol sitting in the back seat.
There's more monsters.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. Like, I enjoyed it, but I think this technically being, I guess, my first noir thriller, I liked it a lot. And good for her for being the first woman to film a noir film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The men should have been in dresses.
And smooching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how they actually get out of it. They find out love was the answer all along.
I actually, so funnily enough, I think it's one of those, like, I think Wired does it where, like, you can ask people questions and they make up a YouTube video of it. They had Brennan Lee Mulligan for D&D, and they're like, what's the strongest form of magic and why is it friendship? And he's like, you know how messed up it is if you said that love conquers all? What happened to everybody that died before you? They didn't love hard enough? Think about that. That's a terrible way to explain love to other people. So yeah, unfortunately, love was not what saved them from the Hitchhiker.
Guide to the Galaxy. That'd be a wild crossover.
You just have the robot come down in the 1950s, and they're like, ah, ah, ah,
it's like
screaming.
Oh, you're here to kill me, finally.
And then he starts shooting at it, and it doesn't matter.
It's like, yeah. Oh man, I think I remember. Like, I forget what book it is. I think that explains why Marvin is so depressed, and it's because they forget him on a planet for like a whole like reset of the universe, and they go back and pick him up, and he's like, I waited so long.
It makes sense. I know I read the collection, like I own like the big fat like collection of all of them. Mm-hmm. I think I only retained the first 2 books very well.
Yeah, I remember bits and pieces of them. Like, that was when I was getting back into reading what I went through. So. But, yeah, well, I don't think we got anything else to say about this. Yeah, good movie. Fun movie, interesting movie to watch.
I'm actually giving thumbs up this time. Not that I didn't think the other movie should have thumbs up, but I didn't want Payne to say, oh, she's not giving thumbs up, she's a liar.
She's giving unthumbs down, so... in Cantonese, like, pretty much when you say, like, the or, like, the negative version of it, you say So it's like you giving thumbs down. Yeah. There's like, there's the other one, which I forget what it translates to. But it's like, now I'm blanking on it, but it's just like that pretty much, very, like, it's very good or something like that. But pretty much there's something where there's a word that, like, when you say it, it like the way you pronounce it is gay. And so I'm blanking on what it is, what say, but there's like for good it's like ho, and so it's just like today's like lesson. I can't remember what the English equivalent was. It was like gay ho, and I'm like, what? What am I saying?
Am I at a drag breakfast?
So.
That's funny.
But yeah. So if you guys enjoyed this, thank you.
We have one more of her directed works.
The Bigamist.
Yeah. The synopsis makes me laugh. An amazingly sympathetic portrait of a figure historically given very short shrift. The title character is not only a 2-timer, he's a traveling salesman as well.
Disgusting. And Sam's Club trying to sell me solar panels. Or a new roof. But anyway, yes. So we are going to be talking about that. That will be the close to Lupino's month, but also, well, our focus on Women's History Month. So.
And then it'll be Payne's month.
Yeah, Payne month.
We may or may not have a guest. I think you need to contact them.
Okay. I don't remember.
Check the spreadsheet.
I will in a sec. But anyway, that is it. Something just got in my eye. Cool. But anyway,
that is time then.
Yep. So, thank you everyone for watching, listening, and I don't know, eating cheese. So, yeah. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Peace.